All right, let's check out a push and pull comparison with the pull-up versus the dip. Now, this gets a little bit challenging. You have different views on this. Charles Poliquin, OPEX coaching programs, they teach that the pull-ups and the dips should be equal. There's other coaches that I've had conversations with that don't agree with that comparison. They feel that people are going to be dominant in their dips versus their pull-ups. So, you got to make the choice for yourself. I personally think that maybe that feeling that the dips should be stronger comes from a bias of individuals that have had a lot more exposure with push-ups and dips. So we do look at wanting it to be equal, but it also does get a little complicated when we take into account that not all of you are yet doing those pull-ups and dips, but we're also comparing straight arm hangs, straight arm dip supports, bent arm hangs, bent arm dip supports, and all of that is included together within these statistics. So just things to keep in mind, but you can always just use this information for your own knowledge of your own body. So with that in mind, comparing it to the end of 2021, we had 24 post results on both. This time we had 37 post results of both of those areas. At the end of 2021, we had 13% fall within a balanced range of the pushed pull. This time that's up to 24% falling within balanced range. Then comparing where do we fall one way or the other, 21% were pulling dominant, versus 16% were pulling dominant. And in 2021, 66% were pushing dominant, and that's dropped a little bit to 60% being pushing dominant. So we still definitely have that pushing dominance, which we definitely saw as we came out of the pandemic time frame when we were doing a lot of at-home training and we had very little exposure of areas to hang and work on that upper body pulling strength other than like bent over rows, dumbbell rows, some upright rows, what have you. So use that information for yourself. If you're someone that knows that you can do like 15 dips, but only possibly currently 5 pull-ups, then hey, keep your emphasis on building that upper body strength. We do a lot of upper body like density and bodybuilding type work in our cash outs. Got a lot of opportunities to strengthen those lats with the PVC and the banded lat pull downs, pullovers, what have you, all those types of different exercises that you can work. Also, even if you have strict pull-ups, you could also practice those bent arm hangs, starting to increase that range of motion that you have that strength. If you're strong in your pull-ups, but you're only ever training chin over the bar, I challenge you to start to increase that range of motion and start to work for that full range of that chest to bar pull-up as well. So you can, the stronger we are through a greater range of motion, the less likely that we're gonna have injuries come up. So we always want to start to build our strength, that full range. If you are working your hanging, I really encourage you to make sure that you come down under control, start to work those negatives if you're not already, making sure, especially at the very end range, that you really focus to slowly lower down. We oftentimes use bands as assists for the pull-ups in Metcons and whatnot, the conditioning pieces. There's nothing per se wrong with bands. I've said it before, I'll say it again. My biggest, what I don't love about using the bands is that when you're in the bottom position of that band, you get that most spring out of that bottom. And when you're then take the band away, and especially when you start to get into working those more dynamic movements of the kipping pull-up, now that bottom position is where your body needs the most strength so that you don't, boom, just jerk through those shoulders and have a lot of extra stress and tension through your shoulder girdle. Also, those of you that know you're really strong in the dips are something that's a little bit easier to kind of shorten that range of motion. You could kind of just be going part way down. So if you know you're already strong in dips, or anyone, whenever you're training dips, be patient, work that range of motion, try to get your fingers all the way up and into your armpits, try to get your shoulders below your elbows. That might require you working your mobility, working on opening up the chest, and making sure that you have that range of motion to continue to build that strength. Let's see, I think that basically covers the pull-ups and dips for now. So keep working that overall body weight strength because it has great crossover. Oh, there was one more thing I was gonna mention. You've probably experienced it already. If not, you'll be seeing it soon. Those of you that do have, we recommend 3 strict pull-ups, 3 strict dips before you're really practicing the dynamic movements. Kipping pull-ups, I have known individuals that have been able to do kipping pull-ups before they can do strict pull-ups, but I highly recommend against even attempting to do the kipping pull-up prior to having that strict strength. Again, just for the extra stress it puts on your joints when you're dynamically swinging from the bar. Also, what I was alluding to is in the programming, I have recommended that when we do have the dynamic pull-ups in the workouts, I've started to recommend that you're doing just a standard kip and to take a pause from anyone that's working that butterfly pull-up. The butterfly pull-up is a higher demand on that shoulder girdle, and also it's really important, just like we want to be able to do single unders before we do double unders and also keep that single under skill, we want to be able to always come back and be able to do that standard kipping pull-up prior to practicing that butterfly pull-up. And then you just want to be intelligent about not always practicing the butterfly pull-up, just to not overuse and overwork your shoulders over the long haul. All right, that should be enough of me chatting about pull-ups and dips. As always, if you have any questions, just let your coaches know. And next, we're going to jump into some bench press versus the back squat discussion.